Hello everyone and welcome back to the Yoga Plus Community YouTube channel. I am super stoked to have you guys here because I have a quite interesting yet educational video that I want to share with you all today. But of course, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I have a disclaimer, and that is if you are a woman, welcome. This is exactly where you need to be. But if speech and vocabulary about sex and virginity and vaginas and period and blood kind of throw you off, first of all, they shouldn't, and second of all, this probably isn't the video for you. I don't want to offend you and I do not want to make you uncomfortable, so go ahead and click out before we really get into this. Anyways, if you are a man and you got lost on my page and clicked because you're curious, welcome. You are of course welcome to, but same disclaimer for you that I have for the ladies, that we will be talking about period blood, sex, virginity, and a lot of other women anatomy kind of sort of stuff. So if that kind of speech really is not your groove, then you may want to exit out of this video as well. But otherwise, if the disclaimers didn't completely scare you to bits, welcome to this video. Today I have a lot of information that I'm going to be spilling on you, and now that I'm actually sitting down and talking, I'm thinking that I may need to split this video up into a few pieces. There's something else that I want to touch on. If you are somebody that is here, maybe you're a woman already using a menstrual cup, or maybe you're just a guy curious, this information that I'm going to share with you is meant to be spread, so be sure you share this message and spread the awareness around menstrual cups, because as I will share at the end of this video, this is a very, very, very serious topic, especially if you are a woman. Your sanitary napkins are a make it or break it, literally with your life. But we'll get to all the seriousness at the end. For now, let's have a nice brief introduction. I want to start off by first introducing to you guys my menstrual cup, and yes, I will be showing you the actual menstrual cup that I put up my vagina every month. No shame. I have absolutely no shame in my game. I want to go over what a menstrual cup does. I want to figure out if a menstrual cup is even meant for you, and then at the very, very end, I will show you how to put a menstrual cup in. Yes, a live demonstration, not necessarily with my body. I will be using props, but yes, I will be showing you in this video how to actually put a menstrual cup in, and of course, how to take it out. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is a menstrual cup? A menstrual cup is your safer, better, cheaper alternative to any sort of sanitary napkin that you are using as of today. And I want to introduce you to my menstrual cup. So everyone, meet my menstrual cup. I have no name for it, it's just a menstrual cup. This was originally see-through white when I got it, but you know how blood works, it tends to stain everything that it comes in contact with, so that's kind of what happened here. So if you find yourself, ladies, ordering a silicone clear menstrual cup, this is what it's going to look like after a few tries using it. And of course, that's completely normal, blood stains things, so don't get freaked out. Mine is completely clean. I clean it after every single cycle. It just dyes it, so I want to give that little disclaimer. But some benefits of a menstrual cup is, one, that it is safer, which I'll bring up at the end. Two is that it is a lot more cost effective. So I don't know what your guys' budgets are, but I know that some people really do have a budget, and buying tampons and pads every month can really impair on that budget. And I've noticed over the years that tampons and pads have kind of like sneakily increased in price, and so that's why I choose really not to use tampons and pads. A part of it is because I try to be cost effective with everything that I do in my life, and buying one of these and having it last my whole entire life, you know, putting 15 bucks up front is nothing to me at the end of the day. Which leads me into my next point, is that tampons and pads produce a lot of waste in the environment. Usually we flush them down the toilet, or we toss them in the trash. And if we toss them in the trash, that ends up in a landfill that eventually goes into the ocean eventually. Or we put them down the toilet, that goes directly into the ocean. So I, in my life, am all about reducing harm, whether that be to myself, animals, or the environment. So a menstrual cup kind of perfectly kind of squeezed its way into my life and stayed there for the mere fact that this is a zero waste item. You buy this item once and you will have it for the rest of your life if you are irresponsible and do not lose it. So don't lose it, okay? It's just better for the environment. You have one of these puppies and you have it for your entire life. Another benefit of this amazing contraption, which is one of my favorite benefits right after being good for the environment and good for me, is that you can have it in for super long. And I'm talking like super, super long. If you're coming from Team Tampon, you could have this puppy in for like 8 to 10 more hours longer than you ever had your tampon in. If you wear a pad, I don't know, I was never a pad wearer, but I think they say like 8 hours for pads max. Anyways, this little puppy here, you can keep inside of your vagina for up to 12 hours, okay? And okay, I'm not gonna lie. On some different packages, depending on the brand, they will tell you different times, but for me, I can't give you the brand on my cup either because it was definitely not bought in this country, and I don't even remember the brand, to be honest. Anyways, I have kept mine in for a little bit over 12 hours and I've had no problems at all. I'm talking no leaks, forgot it was in there, that's why I forgot to take it out. Like, this thing saves lives, and I'm so serious. Time restrictions are a lot different, so if you are very active and you leave your house super early in the morning and you don't get home till after the moon's already halfway through the sky like myself, this is definitely the product that you need to have in your life. If you are on the go, you need a cup, because you literally do not have to take this thing out. And so I'm gonna address this one question because I was asked this through Instagram on a poll that I had for this video. Does it leak? So the only time that I've had problems with my menstrual cup leaking is, yes, of course, when I was leaving it in for like 10 plus 12 maybe hours. I have a very heavy flow. So heavy flowers, open your ears. If you have a heavy flow and you're trying to like really push the limits on how long you can have this in, you should probably be careful because you are more prone to having it leak, and that's the only time that I have ever experienced blood in my pants past this little puppy is when I kept it in too long. And I was on like the first or second day of my period and it was like the freaking Red Sea down there and I completely overflew it. So if you are a heavy flower, don't push the limit with like 12 hours. Definitely go like 8, 10. Otherwise, if you are a heavy flower and nothing's leaking, don't freak out because that means your cup's trapping everything, which is super cool. Anyways. So the second thing that I want to address during this video is what exactly does this menstrual cup do? And of course, as I put it in with my little live demo here, I'll be able to show you more of what it does. But just to tell you really quick, if you're on a time crunch, basically what you do is you insert the menstrual cup up your vagina. What it does is it molds, because it is silicone, it's very bendy, as you can see. It molds to the lining of your vaginal walls. And basically, excuse me, when the blood flows down, this little cup scoops it all up for you and it holds it in place. It doesn't move. It's not like a crazy, like it's not a little acrobat in there. It literally just sits in its little place. It's very obedient and it just, you know, it's super obedient. It allows the blood to flow into it and it sits there until you give it permission to come out. You dump it, you clean it, and then you put it back in. That's basically how the process works. But that is what this menstrual cup does, is it basically just traps all of your blood until you are ready to take it out. Seriously, it's really that simple. Now, we're getting a little bit closer to the live demo, but I have some questions for you, and this is really to help you figure out if menstrual cups are for you. So my first question is, are you familiar with your body? A challenge that I can see with anybody who starts to use menstrual cups is if they are not familiar with their body, they may think, ew, this feels weird, or I don't want to really touch down there, I don't want to touch myself, or, you know, people can get really weird about their own anatomy, which I really encourage everyone to work on, because if there's anybody that's supposed to be comfortable with you, it's supposed to be yourself. Anyways, that may just be my opinion, but if you're not comfortable with yourself, a menstrual cup may be a challenge because you will kind of be sticking your fingers up your vagina, you will be touching blood, there will be blood on your fingers, it will be a very mushy, gushy, and ishy situation, sometimes dirty if you're not too careful or in the beginning stages, so that's something to be aware of. Another thing to know if the menstrual cup is for you is if you're a virgin. The only thing that I can imagine, I have not talked to any virgins that use a menstrual cup, but the only problem that I can really foresee is if you're a virgin, you're a little bit tighter down there, you haven't really been, you know, explored down there, so things are a little bit tight and rigid, and maybe that can cause you to have a little bit of anxiety and fear about sticking things up, especially when it's a silicone foreign object. So if you're a virgin, just take your time. Definitely not a reason to not use a menstrual cup, but definitely a reason to be a little bit more patient and gentle with yourself when it comes time for you to insert this into your beautiful vagina. Third way to know if you are ready to put in your menstrual cup is your area clean? Are you in a clean space? Do you have a clean bathroom? Is your menstrual cup clean? Are your hands clean? Is your vagina clean? Like, make sure you have a clean area around you. Of course, not all the times are you gonna have access to like a sink, especially when you're in a public restroom. You're not gonna have access to a sink and towels and all this like water and soap and all this craziness. So as you get more familiar with the menstrual cup and using it so often, it'll become second nature and you'll start making less of messes. But at the very least, you should make sure that you do have clean hands and a clean cup. At the very least, that's all I can think of. And that makes me want to address something right now. I know I got asked this question, so might as well address it. What do you do if you're in a public area and you have your menstrual cup in? Definitely don't take it out. If it's not leaking, do not take it out. It'll be a whole scene. Unless you're trying to literally cause a scene in the bathroom, in a public restroom, do not take your menstrual cup out. There is absolutely no reason for you to take your menstrual cup out midday, unless you're just curious and you want to see your blood. You can do that at your own time, in your bathroom at home, but if you're in a public space, you're probably busy, you have places to go, there's absolutely no need to take your menstrual cup out unless it is leaking. Otherwise, forget it's there. Maybe you have to shove it up a little bit more because it slipped down, who cares, and go about your day. Do not address your menstrual cup in a public space if it's not leaking. That is from my heart to yours. It'll save you. It'll save you. Another way to know if you're ready for a menstrual cup is if you have your doctor's clearance. Of course, not everybody needs their doctor's yes to use a menstrual cup, but if you just had a child or any kind of surgery, any kind of surgical or medical situation going on down there, you should definitely consult with your physician before you use a menstrual cup, just to be on the safe side. The final way of knowing if you are ready for a menstrual cup is, are you able to calm yourself down? Are you able to relax yourself? And when I mean relax, I mean relax, okay? Because a problem you will have with this menstrual cup, if you are somebody who is tight and tense and full of fear and thinking you can't do this, is your body is going to tense up. Your body's natural reaction to stress is to tense up. All your muscles will tense, and yes, your vagina is a muscle, so that muscle will especially be tensing up because it's the one under attack. So make sure you take a deep breath in, you take a deep breath out, and you gotta relax into this process, because it is a process, especially if you've never used one before, especially if you're a virgin, if you're coming from absolutely no kind of experimentation with your girl, you know really nothing about her. You need to be relaxed. You can do this, okay? Women have been doing this since the beginning of time, not necessarily menstrual cups, but women have had a vagina since the beginning of time, and we've managed to make it work thus far, and we can continue to do so. So just relax, take a deep breath, relax all of your muscles, tell yourself you can do this instead of you can't. Be as positive as you possibly can. Do something that's gonna put you in a good mood and put you in a relaxed state so that this process goes by as smoothly as possible. Who's ready to put a menstrual cup in? All right, let's do it. So we're getting into the live demo now of putting a menstrual cup into said vagina. Today, I will be using an old tea glass. Shout out to Purely. This video is not sponsored, but hey, if y'all want to sponsor me, I'm cool with that. I'm using a old glass bottle here, and if you see like some nastiness, it's because I have it pre-lubed up. I have coconut oil, but this little glass here is pre-lubed up with some coconut oil, and then I have my menstrual cup here that I probably will need to put some more coconut oil on as well. I tried to do this earlier and it's a little bit harder because it's like silicone on glass. Anyways, this is your said vagina for the day, and this is your said menstrual cup. What you're going to do first with the menstrual cup, after you've cleaned said area of the vagina, you want to make sure that this is clean as well. Usually the three fingers that you're going to be using the most are the thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger. So think of little eagle fingers here. What you're going to do is you're going to grab a hold, put the bottle down. You're going to grab a hold of the bottom of the menstrual cup where the little adapter, or what, I don't know what this is called, the little stem is at. And you're going to make sure you can pinch it. Make sure you can get a good pinch, make sure everything's moving okay, the silicone hasn't hardened, which it won't. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna completely close top fingers down to the thumb, and you're gonna fold it basically into like a little taco. You know how you make the little taco with your tongue? This will look kind of like that. Once again, all three fingers are being used. You wanna make sure that the head, this is the head, the opening of the menstrual cup is as small as possible, seeing as this is gonna be the first part that actually goes into the vagina. Let's get to it. Said vagina. Here we go. It's gonna be at a little angle here, so of course we all know this if we use a tampon anyways. If you haven't, hello, here we go. Your vagina is a little bit slanted. You're gonna put the opening of the menstrual cup in at the opening of the vaginal canal. And mind you, this is gonna be it's gonna be way easier for you. So you see me struggling, but it's gonna be way easier for you at home. Anyways, you put the beginning or the opening of the menstrual cup in, and you basically just use your fingers to kind of slide it up there. And you see how already the silicone is beginning to open. I don't know if you can see it from that view, but the silicone is already beginning to open. Once you put it all the way up there, it'll completely open. And this is how you want it. I'm just gonna stop really quick and put this down just because I want to explain something, but this is how your menstrual cup will be sitting in your vagina. You won't see it, but this is what it'll look like. Another question that I was asked during the Instagram polls was, can the menstrual cup get lost? Absolutely not, which I think is why this little thingy exists. I never, ever, ever use the little stem of the menstrual cup. Never, not once, have never needed to. But if you have a fear of losing it, that's why I think it exists, is so that if you feel like it's way, you know, way up here and you need to pull it down, you can reach your finger up there and kind of guide it down, literally. If you really think it's gonna get lost, it's not gonna get lost. Another thing that may happen, a little, you know, a little gross alert, sorry, some more anatomy, is that usually if your vagina is right here, ladies, your asshole, sorry, your butthole is right here. And if you have a bowel movement, sometimes, yes, if your stool is hard enough, it will push the menstrual cup down, sometimes even out. I've had that happen to me, where it actually fell in the toilet. TMI. Anyways, it's happened to me. It sucked. So make sure if you're dropping a deuce, you have like 2 fingers there to kind of protect it so it doesn't fall out. And then once you're done dropping a deuce, you can just continue to push it up, because it will slip down if you are passing a movement. Anyways, but yeah, just stick it back up there and it'll set back into place. Another thing that you want to be careful for is when you put in the menstrual cup, sometimes it doesn't expand all the way. So, you know, it could still be kind of folded, because what you do when you put it inside you is you create a vacuum. Obviously, there's no real air circulating in your vagina. So when you put something with an open mouth up there, then you open it, it's gonna suck, you know? So it's gonna create some sort of vacuum effect. So that's something that you need to be careful of, because that's another way you can see, or another way it will begin to leak, is if it stays closed in there, and obviously it never expands, so things are just falling out. So make sure through the beginning you're at least being sound, like quiet yourself down, relax, tune in, and sometimes you'll be able to feel the rim of the menstrual cup mold into your vaginal walls. If you don't feel that, you can kind of just stick your finger up there and do like kind of this little motion here to make sure that it's fully expanded. See how it's moving? Otherwise, you should be good. But in the beginning stages, just to make sure everything is like working okay and it properly expanded, stick your finger up there. If not, and you feel it kind of open, you're like, oh, it worked. It's literally like my facial expression, like, oh, it's working. Anyways, time for us to take it out. So here we go, picking up the vagina again. This is of course gonna be a hard process. I already practiced it. This glass bottle is like definitely not a vagina. So it's a little bit more of a struggle, but this is more for you to just see how I use my fingers to kind of grab it. So of course we're using our eagle fingers again, and we're sticking them up there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to grab, like I'm gonna use this little stem to pull it down so I can actually do the demonstration. It's not gonna do it. Anyways, I'm gonna get it halfway out, just so you can see. Oh no, you can do it. So you can also do it this way. You can kind of like put your finger on the side and like drag it down, but usually you're just able to kind of stick all 3 fingers up and kind of scoop it down. This is the most important part that I wanna explain. So right when it's about to come out, come here. So right here at this point is the point you really want to be aware of when it comes to taking it out. Make sure you go slow. You have to go very, very, very slow, because once again, the vacuum effect can come into play and completely backfire on you. Because if you take it out too fast, the blood will like splash everywhere, because the whole suction thing, it's like science and physics and whatever. Moral of the story here, just go slow, okay? Be very gentle with your flower as you just gently ease it out, and keep grabbing it to make sure it doesn't splash everywhere. Take it out nice and slow, open it up, and then you'll obviously be able to see the blood. And then you just take it, you dump it in the toilet, hold it very closely to the water so you prevent splashing. You dump it, you clean it off if you have a sink accessible if you're in your house, which is why I say make sure you're not doing this in a public area. Try to avoid it. Otherwise, if you're in a public area and they have like some bathrooms with the sinks in it, make sure you use those. But if you're at home, just kind of reach over into the sink, wash it off. It doesn't have to be completely clean, bleach, clear white to put it back in. It's just gonna get more bloody. So I just, you know, make sure it's watered off, and I stick it back in there and wait for another 10 to 12 hours. But anyways, that's basically how you put the menstrual cup in. I hope you found some sort of value there. Of course, it's kind of a little iffy because I'm using a glass bottle and not an actual muscle. And there's one last thing that I want to talk about before I wrap up this video and send you guys on your merry way, which is something that I brought up at the beginning of the video that I am going to let resurface now, and that is the topic of toxic shock syndrome. For those of you who have no idea what that is, toxic shock syndrome is a severely pervasive, deadly, fatal disease for women who are still menstruating and using tampons as their choice of sanitary napkins. Basically what happens is we as women, we stick tampons up our vagina after time and time again, and once that tampon is sitting there and they're absorbing the blood and absorbing a bunch of other things that the vagina consists of that make it healthy, once the tampon starts to absorb a little bit more than it should, bacteria are released in the vagina, which leaves you basically with staph infection in your vagina. And once that goes untreated for so long, you can then easily, very, very easily develop toxic shock syndrome. And like I said it before, it is a very fatal disease that nobody wants in their life. I am willing to accept that we're all gonna bite the bullet one day, but I am definitely not gonna go to the grave because a tampon took me there. So if you know somebody who is still using a tampon, or if you are that person and you are still using a tampon, I highly encourage you to do as much research as you can to familiarize yourself with toxic shock syndrome and menstrual cups and how to use one and how to avoid this very, very unnecessary and avoidable disease. So with that being said, I think I got everything off my chest. Follow up with me. The next video is going to be how to properly clean your menstrual cup to make sure it stays nice and squeaky clean for your next menstruation. Oh, one more thing. You can get your menstrual cup on my website now at www.yogakennedy.com/essentials. It's one of the last items under the wellness tab, under the wellness essentials. So go ahead and head there, yogakennedy.com/essentials, to get your very own menstrual cup too for $9. Quite a good deal. But anyways, until I see you in the next video, sending you so much peace, love, harmony, and happiness. Namaste.